What's up, Eagles Nation? We're heading into another huge challenge, and the expectations couldn't be higher. This next game promises to be one for the books, and our team is showing the preparation, the focus, and the confidence that just keeps building. Howie Roseman, our GM, keeps looking ahead, building a roster that reflects the grit, the passion, and the tradition of the Philadelphia Eagles. This is the moment to feel the energy, to believe, and to push this team toward another victory. So make sure to smash that like button, and most importantly, drop a comment down below. Let out your battle cry, your passion, your fire as a fan that never gives up. Let's show that the power of this fan base is just as strong as the offense and defense on the field. The only question is, are we ready to write another epic chapter in Eagles history? I believe we are. Do you? Let's dive in together. Today's breakdown is unmissable. Let's rewind for a second, because the story of where this team stands right now can't be told without going back to that unforgettable and honestly embarrassing wild card matchup against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That night felt like rock bottom. The Eagles had come into the playoffs battered physically, mentally, and spiritually. After starting the season hot, everything collapsed late in the year. The offense flatlined. The defense was nothing short of a joke. And what unfolded on national television under the Monday Night Football spotlight was painful for this city to watch. A 32-9 loss to Tampa Bay. No effort, no tackling, no energy. The entire city felt humiliated. It was so bad that Jeffrey Lurie reportedly considered firing Nick Sirianni and even reached out to Bill Belichick about possibly taking over. That's how uncertain the future felt. And let's not forget, that was also the final time Jason Kelce ever wore the midnight green. His retirement after that game marked the end of an era. Meanwhile, the defense was historically bad. Under Sean Desai, who replaced Jonathan Gannon, the unit lacked discipline, fundamentals, and identity. 6 losses in their last 7 games that year painted the full picture. The 49ers had exposed them, and the defense was bleeding yards and points. To give you perspective, in 2023, the Eagles allowed over 6,000 total yards, more than 4,500 passing yards, and just 43 sacks after leading the NFL with 70 the year before. They ranked bottom 5 in nearly every meaningful defensive category. It was one of the worst defensive units this franchise had ever seen. But then came the reset. Howie Roseman went back to work, acknowledging the mistakes and rebuilding that defense almost from scratch. The 2024 NFL Draft was the turning point.
Philadelphia hadn't drafted a cornerback in the first round since 2002, but Roseman doubled down. He selected Quinyon Mitchell in the first and Cooper DeJean in the second. Both immediately stepped into starting roles, both delivered in massive ways, and the defense went from being the worst in football to literally the best. That transformation helped power the Eagles to Super Bowl 59 glory, their second Lombardi trophy since 2017. The turnaround was shocking, but it was real. Fast forward to this offseason, though, and the defense faced another challenge: turnover. Brandon Graham retired, C.J. Gardner-Johnson was traded, Darius Slay signed with Pittsburgh, Isaiah Rodgers went to Minnesota, Josh Sweat cashed in with Arizona, and Milton Williams landed big money with New England. All told, the Eagles lost more than 4,000 snaps of defensive production. Once again, Howie Roseman had to replace core pieces, and once again, the draft became his weapon of choice. In 2025, the Eagles did something they almost never do. For the first time since the 1980s, they took an off-ball linebacker in the first round, Jayad Campbell. Then, in the second round, they targeted a glaring hole at safety, selecting Andrew Mukuba out of Texas. Both rookies have wasted no time proving themselves. Campbell has been nothing short of spectacular through 2 games. Pro Football Focus graded him at 83.6 overall, ranking him among the top 15 linebackers in football. His coverage skills pop off the screen, with an 88.3 coverage grade and a passer rating allowed of just 42.4. Fangio has already shown trust in him as a blitzer, and his versatility screams future All-Pro potential. Andrew Mukuba, meanwhile, has been equally impressive in his own right. His preseason pick-six turned heads, and in just 2 regular season games, he has already made game-changing plays. Think about his performance against Kansas City. He registered a half sack on a safety blitz, delivered a critical 3rd and 1 stop, and came away with a clutch interception off Patrick Mahomes after a deflection from Travis Kelce. Plays like that don't just fill up a stat sheet, they decide games. That's what's so exciting here. In back-to-back drafts, Howie Roseman has landed Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean, Jayad Campbell, and Andrew Mukuba for immediate starters on a defense that needed a new identity. Add in a name like J.Lix Hunt from the 2024 class, and suddenly, the Eagles have one of the youngest, most talented, and cost-controlled defensive cores in the entire NFL. This is how you build sustainably. With a veteran-heavy, expensive offense, guys like Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, DeVonta Smith, and Dallas Goedert already locked into extensions, the balance comes from having a defense that is young, hungry, and cheap. It's the perfect roster-building formula, and the results are already showing. Quinyon Mitchell has been near lockdown, allowing just 5 catches across 2 games with no touchdowns given up. The so-called blown coverage deep shot against Kansas City wasn't even on him, and his recovery speed nearly saved the play. On top of that, Fangio's scheme has unleashed breakout players like Moro Ojomo, who exploded with 6 pressures, a sack, and 2 quarterback hits against the Chiefs. The narrative is shifting. This isn't a defense in rebuild mode anymore. This is a defense that could once again dominate the NFL. Now, as exciting as all of that is, there's another storyline we can't ignore: the constant disrespect Jalen Hurts faces from casual fans and outsiders. Despite everything he has accomplished, he's still overlooked. People get caught up in fantasy football stats or highlight reels, but what matters most is winning, and Hurts just wins. Look at his record against elite quarterbacks: Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Justin Herbert, Jared Goff. Against the best of the best, Hurts is 13-4. That's not a fluke. That's leadership and clutch performance. And yet, somehow, he continues to be doubted. It's ridiculous. So here's where I want to leave it for now. This Philadelphia Eagles team has transformed its defense from one of the worst in franchise history to one of the best in the entire NFL in just 2 years. Thanks to Howie Roseman's ability to draft difference makers like Mitchell, DeJean, Campbell, and Mukuba. They've built a balance between an expensive offense and a young, cheap defense, and the early results in 2025 look like the start of something very special. But the question I want to ask you, the fans, is this: do you believe these young defensive stars are enough to push the Eagles back to another Super Bowl? And building off that, let's go even deeper into how these moves and these players are shaping the Eagles' present and their future. The beauty of what Howie Roseman has accomplished isn't just about filling roster holes. It's about constructing a sustainable model that can compete year after year in a league where parity is king. When you think about the modern NFL, the hardest part isn't winning once. It's staying relevant, staying dominant, and not falling into those cycles where a team peaks and then disappears for half a decade. Philadelphia has managed to avoid that trap because of the balance they've struck. On offense, the core is intact and expensive, but also proven. Jalen Hurts is locked in as the franchise quarterback. A.J. Brown and DeVonta Smith are among the best wide receiver duos in football. Dallas Goedert provides consistency at tight end. The offensive line, even with Jason Kelce's retirement, still has talent and depth thanks to years of investment in the trenches. These are not areas of concern. These are the strengths you rely on to score points and close out games. The defense, however, is where the magic is happening. In the span of 2 drafts, Philadelphia turned over a unit that had completely fallen apart and transformed it into a young, athletic, and versatile group with star potential across the board. Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean are not just playing well, they're locking down their side of the field as rookies and second-year players. That is almost unheard of at the cornerback position. Jayad Campbell and Andrew Mukuba are already producing splash plays that swing momentum. Add in a pass rush that still has veterans like Hasten Reddick paired with emerging players like Moro Ojomo and Nolan Smith. And suddenly the Eagles have waves of talent capable of harassing quarterbacks for 4 quarters. And let's not overlook the role of Vic Fangio in all of this. Fangio's scheme thrives on discipline, communication, and disguises. It requires smart, versatile players, and that's exactly what Roseman has been drafting. Campbell's ability to cover tight ends, play the run, and blitz fits Fangio's style perfectly. Mukuba's willingness to hit, blitz, and read plays makes him a Swiss Army knife at safety. The fit between talent and scheme is what makes this more than just a flash-in-the-pan defensive improvement. This feels sustainable. We've also seen that the early season performances of these rookies are not flukes. Campbell is already being graded among the top linebackers in the NFL, not just rookies. His coverage numbers are elite, and he looks like a player who could be in the Pro Bowl conversation by the end of the year. Mukuba, meanwhile, has shown a knack for being in the right place at the right time. His interception of Patrick Mahomes wasn't luck. It was awareness, positioning, and execution in the biggest of moments. Plays like that give fans and coaches confidence that these young guys are not just contributors, but playmakers. Now, combine that with Quinyon Mitchell's recovery speed, which we saw against Kansas City, and the pressure created by Ojomo and Reddick, and what do you get? You get a defense that doesn't just bend without breaking, it actually dictates games. And when you pair a defense that can win on its own with an offense led by Jalen Hurts, you're talking about a championship formula. Speaking of Hurts, it's time we acknowledge something. He doesn't get the love he deserves nationally, but within Philadelphia, we know what we have. A winner, a leader, a quarterback who, when matched up against the elite, delivers results. His record against Mahomes, Burrow, Allen, and others speaks for itself. People can argue about stats all they want, but winning is the ultimate stat, and Hurts has proven time and time again that he knows how to get it done. The connection he has with Sirianni and the buy-in from his teammates make this offense one of the most consistent in football. So when you look at the entire picture, the expensive but proven offense, the young and cost-controlled defense, the fit between talent and coaching, it's clear that the Eagles are positioned not just for another Super Bowl run this year, but for sustained dominance over the next several seasons. That's the mark of a great organization. That's what separates Philadelphia from the teams that have one great season and then fade away. But here's where I want to hear from you as fans. We've seen the defense rise from ashes, we've seen Hurts silence doubters with wins, and we've seen Howie Roseman once again prove why he's one of the best general managers in the league. Do you believe this Eagles roster as it stands right now is built to create a dynasty, or do you think there are still pieces missing before we can truly call this team unstoppable? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, make sure you hit subscribe, smash that like button, and stick around because we've got more Eagles coverage coming your way with videos popping up on your screen right now. Go Birds! And let's be real here, the window is wide open. The NFC doesn't have the same depth of powerhouse teams that the AFC does. San Francisco will always be a rival to keep an eye on, but outside of them, who else truly stacks up against the Philadelphia roster this balanced? Dallas keeps making noise in the regular season and then collapsing when it matters most. Green Bay is talented but still young. The Lions are dangerous, but they haven't proven it in January yet. Meanwhile, the Eagles have the championship pedigree, the roster construction, and the leadership from Hurts and Sirianni to not just compete, but to control their own destiny. And that's why these young defenders are so crucial. When you can trust rookies and second-year players to hold their own against elite competition, it changes the entire identity of your team. No longer are the Eagles just relying on veterans to carry them. Instead, they've created a roster where the next wave of stars is already here, already producing, already impacting wins. That's what every fan base dreams of, and Philadelphia has it right now. So here's my final thought. This isn't just about rebounding from a bad year or chasing one more title. This feels like the foundation of something bigger, something lasting, the kind of core that keeps you in contention for years to come. And if you're a fan of this team, you have to be excited about that. Because the Eagles aren't just trying to win, they're building a legacy. Drop your thoughts down below. Do you believe this young defensive core alongside Jalen Hurts can make the Eagles not just champions again, but the team of the decade? I want to know what you think. And if you haven't already, hit that like button, subscribe, and keep it locked here, because the journey is only getting started. Go Eagles!